Hello everyone. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. This is Mentor Ana once again, and we are live. So how are you? How are you? It's Feb 3, 9 o'clock in the evening. How is your Tuesday doing so far for all of the ladies, accountants, mga finance professionals, and corporate professionals who are watching live or will catch us on replay? Thank you so much for being here with me. Well, for most of you, maybe still busy pa rin with your usual task, or maybe some of you are already at home and you chose to be here. So I'm really glad that you are here. So if you don't know me, so I'm Ana Montesa. I'm a former accounting and finance professional at dating isang hospital CFO. I've been working in the corporate world for 15 years. I've been in this business for 5 years, and 2 years in this business, I was able to retire from my corporate job. That's why I'm very passionate about helping yung mga kapwa ko ring mga accountants and other high-achieving professionals who also wants to create their life beyond their 9 to 5. So by the way, we are streaming live on Facebook, on my Facebook page, on my LinkedIn account, and the latest is on my YouTube channel. So nadagdagan tayo ng ating platform, right? So I'm really grateful for that. And for those who are new here rather, wherever you are tuning right now, please feel free to drop your locations kung saan ka man nanonood right now. Are you also in the Philippines or outside the Philippines? Are you also a Filipino or Filipina? And this is your first time to see me go live, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so let's get started. So for this evening, if you have been following my business page, we are talking about something that is related to our mindset, right? So for tonight, I wanted to talk about something that really explains why there are so many hardworking professionals. They still feel stuck, right? Let's say they're also responsible. They also show up, right? They also give their effort in their work, and yet the results really don't change. So, how many here who are watching right now also experience that, right? I mean, it really takes courage, right, to accept that. Or you might want to say, comment yes on our comments, no, or the space below, right? Or you can just, nod if that's you also. Here's the reason why yung results mo don't really change just because you work harder, right? They change when you start seeing how you see yourself. So I just wanted to share with you something. This is a concept that has been introduced by Bob Proctor, if you know him. Now, Bob Proctor thought that we live from our own self image. So, of course, your self image is the picture that you carry of yourself, which is number one, what you believe is normal for you. Number two, what you believe you deserve. And number three, what you believe that you are capable of. So, yung mind natin no, will always pull us to go back to really what feels familiar. And I've covered this in my previous episode that our mind is, always wanting us or protecting us from, doing things that are not familiar to them. So what happens is if you would notice, diba, na kapag when you're starting something new or trying to do something new, it can be, hindi lang business but other things that you haven't tried before. You might feel the fear, right? And that's actually where your mind is really working to protect you, right? So that's really how our mind really works, right? So ganun din, no? Kahit na, yung mga familiar na yon that we have been doing over and over again is also exhausting for us. So dahil ganun yung how our mind really works. So lahat ng actions natin really depend on how we look as yung ating self-image, and that really hold us back to really move forward and, start making a change, right? So think of like this. So if you still see yourself as just surviving work, you will keep on making survival choices, right? And effort tries to push that change. For example, you try to adapt, it can be like doing something to, for example, to augment your income. It can be doing something that, for example, you wanted to lose weight, you know, or eating healthy or stop smoking or drinking. So those are the things that will always, pull you back. So for this case, itong ating example is if you always see yourself as surviving at work, right? You will always make those choices. And what happens is yung identity natin will quietly decides what really stays. So despite gustong-gusto natin minsan magbago, but since we see ourselves na okay hanggang ganito na lang ako, this is my age, I don't think I'll be able to start a business. I don't think I'll be able to lose weight because ganito na yung age ko, mabagal na yung metabolism, if you're familiar with those type of things. That's actually what we keep on telling ourselves. And when you do that, that's actually what you are telling yourself also inside, kahit quiet lang, but it really influences how you behave, it influences how you act, and that also, results give you the results that you are getting. So, for example, gusto mo magpapayat, but you still see yourself as wala kang chance pumayat. So, you keep on doing the old habits that, make you unhealthy, right? So, ganun din. So, if you are also trying to find ways to earn income, pero you still see yourself as an employee, you will still stay, as an employee, right? So, just to share with you my experience, no, like for many years, I mentioned kanina, I've worked for 15 years in the corporate world, no? So for the past 15 years, my identity was very clear that time. So I was a hardworking corporate professional. I was a CFO, after reaching that far. And, I believe that I was someone who really wanted to solve a lot of problems inside an organization. Even if I really wanted more time or flexibility, yung thinking ko would always stay inside that role. So what happened was, even though sometimes those thoughts na encounter ko yun minsan na what if kaya kung meron pa ba akong pwedeng gawin outside the corporate role, right? So ini-ignore ko siya because for me, my identity or the self-image that I see myself that time was a hardworking corporate professional. So what happened was I really work hard, but still within the same limits. So things began to change when I started learning how business owners really think. So when I started the business officially in 2021, and then I started the business full time already after 2 years, so nakapag-retire ako, that's where my obsession began. So I really wanted to, change the results that I got in the business because it was really hard for me back then to accept, no, na despite that I was giving my effort in the business. Sa umpisa talaga, it was really, really difficult for me to understand why is it, not really working or bakit meron akong ginagawang mali. And then until I realized that part of me was really because of my self-image. And it was just really recent lang, no, that I finally understand what the importance of understanding your own self-image is, right? So when I finally become more educated about ano yung ginagawa ng mga successful entrepreneurs, no, it really helped me to uh, understand also and educate and read, and pursue knowledge to also think how successful entrepreneurs think, right? So of course, I didn't quit that time. I was not really pretending, and for me, I was just learning. And then as I keep on, sabi nga nila, 'di ba, seek and you shall find, right? Ask and you shall be given. So as I keep on searching and reading and researching, that's when I found the concept of Bob Proctor about the self-image. So when I fully understand how important our self-image is, that's actually where I really face and acknowledge that I had my old self-image still within me. And my old self-image was part of me says na meron pa ring doubts na kaya ko ba talagang maging entrepreneur. So I really had to, work on that. And as my thinking really expanded, that's where my choices changed. And once I did, move and choose based on how I want or what I do really deserve in my business, doon lang din nagbago yung results. slowly but surely. So some of the things that I really wanted to share with you, especially if you are that type of person na you, for example, you are already in the business or maybe you're not yet in the business and you are thinking about increasing your income, right? This year you really wanted to grow your income this year. So I wanted to share with you some of the very important concept about self-image, right? So number one, you cannot outperform the identity that you are holding. So some of the key actions that you can take now, if you really wanted to change the results that you're getting in your life. So number one is you pay attention to how you describe yourself. This is very important. So do you often say like, I'm not good at business, or I'm just an employee, or hindi ako techie, hindi ko kaya yung business na yan. So those small short statements that you tell yourself, right? Hindi mo man sabihin, I mean, vocally, right? But that's what you think inside your mind. Those words will quietly shape your own limits. So of course, when you say those words, why don't you try these words instead, right? Ikunin natin yung opposite nun. So for example, okay, I am learning, right? Or I am open to new learning, or I am expanding, right? And if you try to use words to use words that are positive, that are related to what you really wanted. So if you really wanted to pursue a business, let's say I am a successful business owner, I am a successful entrepreneur. I can solve problems, right? I am a solution oriented person, right? So start by using those type of words, right? Na pwede mong gamitin na will further, kumbaga, plant a new belief, right? Because if you acknowledge na papansin mo na parang you're limiting yourself, you start by switching those old self-limiting beliefs into empowering ones, right? So kunin mo lang yung opposite nun. That's how easy it is. And then dun ka mag-focus. That's what you read every single day. That's what you tell yourself every single day. If you, for example, may ma-encounter ka na related to that, that's what you keep on repeating to yourself. And when you do that, that will become part of your new empowering belief, or that's going to be part of your new identity or your new self-image, right? That's very important. Number two, your identity shifts through environment and input. So some of the key actions that you can take on this one is, try to spend time listening to people who are already where you want to go. It can be like in the social media, diba? So if you are really scrolling on social media and you want to have a productive time scrolling, so why not follow those type of people that are already the person that you wanted to become, right? So you can watch their content, you can, start a conversation with them, or you can start by having learning spaces, right? Of course, your environment will really teach you, especially yung mind mo, what's really possible. So like in my case, like I mentioned earlier, that part of my learning was really to understand how a successful entrepreneur works. So I have some few, I love following female entrepreneurs. So may mga few akong fina-follow, like Cody Sanchez, Coral Santoro, those are some of the few international entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs na fina-follow ko on social media. And instead of scrolling and watching yung mga negative news, yung mga entertainment, yeah, it's okay to do entertainment, but if you wanted to make the most out of your time, diba? Why not follow those um, mga mga pages, diba, na would give you more value and share with you their knowledge so that you can also learn and become like them, right? So doon ako nakakuha ng mga ideas, ano yung mga libro na binabasa nila, ano yung mga ginawa nilang habits, how do they deal with this type of for example, rejection and so on and so forth. So doon ako nakakuha ng idea. Of course, I also follow some of the successful entrepreneurs in our business community. So para well balanced. So do that, no? If you haven't done that, you can unfollow those pages na medyo negative, right? Because the more that you keep on watching negativity, right? That's actually what you feed your mind. So what happens is that's how you see your that's how you move, right? You always see the negative side of things, you don't see the positive side of things. So mapapansin mo kapag nag-follow ka ng mga pages na positive, you will also be positive, right? And the third one is, small identity aligned actions matter more than motivation. So some key actions that you can do is, why don't you, do one small action that really matches the person that you want to become. So for example, if you are still an employee and you wanted to become an entrepreneur, you are looking, for example, a business that you wanted to start. So why don't you start by, ano bang gagawin ng taong yun, right? So if this is a successful entrepreneur, ano bang gagawin niya? So of course, you watch a training, right? You ask a question kung meron kang katanungan, or you learn how a system works, right? So hindi mo kailangan ng mga big huge moves here. Ang kailangan mo lang talaga dito for you to create your new identity or a new self-image. It's really more about consistent exposure over and over and over again. And nothing in my life really changed until I changed how I thought and what I allowed myself to learn. Kasi in my case, ever since I finally have an understanding about this, I also try to, fill in my mind. I always read, I always watch those people who would, give more, will elevate my mindset some more. So that's where I get ideas on how I can move forward or how I can think, like, for example, ano ba yung routine ni Bob Proctor? Ano ba yung routine ng ibang successful entrepreneur? Paano ba yung buhay nila? How do they make decisions? How do they face rejections? How do they face failures? That's actually where I get the idea, and that's where I come to also, refine my own identity and my own self-image, right? So for me, I also see this a lot of times. Like, there's so many professionals that would say, I wanted to earn differently, but I'm not that business type, eh. Or I'm too old enough to pursue a business, eh. Or wala, I don't think I can do it because I'm managing my household. I am a wife. So I don't think I don't, hindi ko magagawa yan. So I don't have the time. So what happened is, hindi talaga sila nag-explore. And there are those type of people naman that would say, okay, let me learn and see if this really fits me, right? So, for example, this two persons have the same background, but they also have the same fears. So, they also have the same doubts, let's say. But between the two, they did different action, right? Yung isa, what happened was, dahil nga na-limit na siya ng pinaniwalaan na niya yung sarili niya, nag-stuck siya, right? But the other one continues to grow and started to take action. So, gusto niyang matutunan yung business, so nag-take action siya, right? So, for tonight, no, I also wanted to encourage you to ask yourself, of course, no, like, what is that one small action that your next version will take this week, right? So, like in my case, for example, um, if you wanted to become healthy, ano kaya yung ginagawa ng taong healthier version mo, right? So it can be as simple as, eating healthily, or less, bawasan ng alcohol intake, for example, anything. And kung yun yung dapat na gawin mo as habit to become that version that you wanted to be, yun yung gawin mo. Right? So for example, in the business naman, if you wanted to be a successful entrepreneur, so if gusto mo talagang mag-grow yung business mo, then you have to learn how to do advertising, for example. Right? You have to master Facebook advertising or one platform muna. Right? So this is actually that's why very important sa akin yung digital business that I started, no. For me kasi it wasn't just about income, no. For me, when I really started and embraced the new identity as an entrepreneur, it really helped me to shift how I think, how I decide, how I show up, and how I earn in my business. So if you really want to see the system and learning how our environment is, how our business community is that really supported that change, so just comment the word start or just send me a message and I'll walk you through the same way that I did 5 years ago. So it's going to be step by step, wala pa ring pressure, and just understand yourself, understand the business rather, right? And then move from there. All right. So before we end this live, I wanted to share our live viewer, who is my mom, by the way. So sabi na ni mom is watching you live, learning a lot out of this. Thank you, ma. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support as always. And I'll see you sa weekend, right? So that's it for tonight. So thank you for spending your Tuesday night with me. We went over our usual, length because I really wanted to explain this further with you. Because this is one of the concepts of Bob Proctor that really helped me, think differently this time. And I was also just like you. I had a poor self-image, and when I decided to change that and start, visualizing ano ba yung ginagawa ng successful version ko as an entrepreneur, that's actually where I align all of my routine. That's actually where I align with how I move, how I behave, what I do personally, professionally, and in my business. And slowly but surely, I'm getting there, and I'm really happy with the results, right? So kung nakaya ko, you can also work on that, because later on, if you decided to start a business, one of the things that you really have to, work on, right, to succeed, not just in the business, maybe in everything, in any endeavor, is to really work on your mindset, right? It's really about 85 or 90%, for example, in the business. It's really about that 80 to 90% mindset, right? So I hope that, that gave you some value for tonight. So thank you for being here. So happy Mindset Tuesday, everybody. And I wanted to remind you that growth starts with small actions. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.